Hi, hi, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're doing really well. This is Liz Davis. I am a nutritionist and I specialise in digestive health for busy women. So I help busy women fix their nasty digestive symptoms, IBS, bloating, and all the other nasty symptoms that go along with that and really get in the way of you living your best life. And I use state of the art testing, diet and lifestyle interventions, supplements, etc., to really help to get things back into balance and get you living life as you should do once again. So, today I was going to talk to you about hydration because it's so fundamental, and it's often the simplest things I find that tend to a have the biggest impact, and b often get overlooked in favour of, say, starting very elaborate or expensive supplement regimes or intense exercise regimes, things like that. But often water and consumption of water is at the crux of a lot of people's problems. So, what do I mean by that? Well, basically, you need to have plenty of water on board for a healthy gut. If your gut has enough water, you're looking at having better skin, better immune health, much more energy, much better moods, better brain function, better gut function, and I'll come on to that a bit more in just a second. Um, it's so basically starting with the stomach then. So if you are getting gut problems, depending on what gut problems you have, you may be experiencing bloating, for example. Well, if you're not drinking enough water, then your stomach can't produce adequate levels of hydrochloric acid. It needs hydrochloric acid to break down the food you're eating. Ditto, your pancreas needs adequate water to be able to produce all the enzymes that it needs to produce, which break down food, different kinds of food as well. So basically, if those two organs aren't getting adequate water, they're not going to be helping to break your food down properly. Your food's going to be hanging around in your stomach, and that's going to make you very uncomfortable and very bloated. Ditto, going further down the digestive tract, if you're not consuming enough water, then your body's going to draw fluid from the colon. This is going to cause constipation. That is going to cause bloating. It's going to cause toxins to start to recirculate, etc. All those things which we definitely do not want as far as your digestive health is concerned. So basically, your digestive system is not going to work properly if you haven't got enough water going on. So, but not only the digestive system, so this then has a knock-on effect throughout the body. So if your digestive system's not working properly, you're not going to be able to get rid of toxins properly. As I say, your mood, your brain function's going to suffer, your kidneys are going to suffer, you won't have enough fluid to ensure that your heart is pumping effectively, your cells aren't going to be repairing themselves effectively. Often, if you're feeling sensations of hunger or cravings, this is often because you're actually not drinking enough water. It's the water that your body really wants there. So how do you know then if you're not adequately hydrated? What are the signs to look for? Well, firstly, a big one that comes up a lot is that people feel tired and fatigued. You may get headaches as well. So if you get either of those symptoms, say you get an afternoon plunge, always try to get some more fluids on board and see if that doesn't solve the problem first. You might experience a dry mouth, dry skin. You may not be going to the loo very much. Brain fog, your memory might go. Muscle cramps, dizziness, and as I say, all sorts of problems with your digestive system. So when I first see clients, a few of them are already really good water drinkers, so that's great. We don't need to work on that. However, most people I find are tending to rely a bit too heavily on caffeinated drinks, so tea and coffee, and also a lot of the time on fizzy drinks, Coca-Cola, etc. So while tea and coffee are they're perfectly adequate drinks and they have their health benefits as well. Really, you want to be drinking as much just plain water or herbal teas as you possibly can. Not to say you shouldn't have tea and coffee, that's absolutely fine. You can have a couple of cups of those a day, although do avoid any sugary drinks because they're not going to help you at all. Okay, so also it's not just your drinks, so there are foods that are really hydrating too. So for example, you could particularly a lot of the salad vegetables, which are nice through the summer, so radishes, cucumbers, lettuce, watermelon, things like that, fantastic sources of hydration for you there. So make sure you eat plenty of those because they can add something like 20% to your actual fluid intake of a day. So also I would say, if you can, drink filtered water where possible, because tap water has got chlorine added to it to obviously knock out pathogenic bacteria and stuff. Unfortunately, the problem with that is it's also not only does it taste a bit iffy, but it will also then knock out your beneficial bacteria in the gut. And as you know, we want plenty of those going on. We want them in there healthy and thriving. We absolutely don't want to be destroying them at all with chlorine. So always filter your water where you can. So how much should you be drinking then? Well, the general rule of thumb is to be aiming for about 8 glasses of water or 2 litres a day, which is fine. That's always going to vary though, of course, depending on what the weather's doing, how hot it is outside, and how much exercise you've done, how big you are, etc. So that's entirely debatable. What I would always do is just keep an eye on your urine throughout the day. The first wee you have in the day is always going to be very, very dark, but you want to see that getting lighter and lighter as the day wears on. Always aim for a very pale straw coloured urine throughout the most part of the day. Okay, so if you keep also say if you're working, keep a bottle of water on your desk all the time, filtered water. If you're going out for the day, always take water with you. Just get into the habit of bringing it with you everywhere you go. So if you're not keen on water, excuse me, what should you do? Well, there are a few nice tricks around. The first thing is to flavour your water. So if you can, always filter it, because filtering it not only takes the chlorine out, but it makes it taste so much nicer as well. You want nice tasting water, so it's going to motivate you to drink it. So keep a jug of water to filtered water in the fridge. You can add fruit tea bags to that if you like. That makes a really nice tasting drink, especially in the summer. You can add fresh mint to it. That's nice and tasty. You can add lemon and lime, although do be careful with your tooth enamel of that. You don't want too much of that because it will impact your tooth enamel quite a lot there as well. Cucumber strips are nice. Anything you want really like that, you can flavour it with. Yeah, as I say, use your favourite herbal tea as a nice way to do it. On a cold day, if I don't feel like drinking cold water, which I often don't, I will just heat it up a little bit in the kettle. It doesn't have to be boiling, but it will encourage you to drink more water in the cold weather. It's often quite easy in hot weather to be guzzling water all day. Not quite so easy in the winter, which is when we tend to forget and prefer warmer drinks like coffee and hot chocolate, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, going back to caffeine, you can have tea and coffee, definitely. It will, however, start to become a bit too dehydrating if you rely on those, because the urine output is always going to be more when you're drinking caffeinated drinks. I would say stick to no more than a couple of caffeinated drinks a day, and then make the rest of it up with herbal teas and plain water, etc. And you will really notice the difference there in your overall well-being. Okay, so I hope that helps you. If you would like to speak to me, I shall pop a link to my diary in the comments. So do book in if you've got any worries about your digestive health or anything else. And I would love to find out more about you and what you've got going on and how I can help you. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.